Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
7:07 on WMAL. And even Brian Wilson with you. Happy Wednesday morning to you.
Yeah, it's sort of a rainy day.
Rainy cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Is that a cliche? I think it is.
Yeah, well, and cliches, they're tyrannical, I think, sometimes, don't you?
I believe so. Jonah Goldberg joins us now. He's editor-at-large, National Review, author of the new book, The Tyranny of Clichs. This is why we're talking like that. Good morning, Jonah. Great to have you back on the show.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
So what's going on? You have this new book out. It's your follow-up to a great book on liberal fascism. Tell me, give me some examples of these cliches that liberals use to cheat in the war of ideas.
Right. I mean, the truth is, as you guys were sort of hinting at, everybody uses cliches.
Sure.
Cliches can often just be for lazy thinking, lazy talking, and all of the rest. I'm not saying that only liberals use cliches. It'd be like saying only liberals like candy for the sweet, sweet taste. But my complaint is that liberals don't admit that they're ideological. We're constantly hearing how they're just pragmatic, that they're members of the reality-based community. President Obama only cares about what works, blah, 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 blah. And so their ideology manifests itself in these cliches where they try to steal bases without an argument. And so, they'll talk about social justice as if it's just, it's just a nice thing. It's social, and it's justice.
That's right.
Who could be against it?
Who could be against it, right?
But the reality is, it's that, there's about 200 years of socialist and social democratic and just big government theory and thinking crammed into that Trojan horse like so many clowns in a clown car. And they throw it around like it's just a common term, and it's not. It actually has a deep ideological history to it. The same thing with things like violence never solved anything, which is super, just if you just in any non-ideological way, is just astoundingly idiotic.
So what are some of the cliches that are out there that people just, that they throw out there all the time that nobody really questions them on?
Well, the one that, President Obama is using the most these days is just simply fairness, right? I mean, he's constantly talking about fairness, and he defines fairness as basically taking even more money who pay taxes to give more money to people who don't pay taxes. And the other day I heard him say, if one American has a problem, we all have a problem.
Yes.
Right, which means that I really want him to come down to my house and fix my toilet.
Well, I love the one where it doesn't matter how much it costs. If it saves one life, it's worth it. Really? Would it be worth it if it cost, say, $5 trillion and it saved one life?
Right. By that theory, right, and that's sort of like, I went back and forth with Piers Morgan about this last night about 10 guilty men. He was like, but we don't believe that it's better that 10 guilty men go free. And I was, yeah, no, actually we do. We believe in the principle that we should err on the side of the accused. We don't believe that 1 million people should go free lest one person go to jail. This principle, like, if it costs one life, well, then the speed limit would be 5 miles an hour.
That's right.
And the guardrails on highways would be 50 feet tall.
Right, and I'm against that.
Yeah. So
I think it's coming to the dullest toll road soon enough.
Or it's coming to D.C. with speed cameras, for sure.
I want to get you to weigh in on some stuff that's going on, especially when you look at what happened last night with in North Carolina,
sure,
where there was a referendum, a constitutional amendment that was in favor of marriage being defined as a man and a woman. And not same-sex marriage. And boy, that state is just fraught with all kinds of issues for Democrats, and it's where they're going to hold their convention and where the president will be renominated for a re-election.
Yeah, I think maybe the North Carolina thing goes too far, because I've been in favor of civil unions for a very long time, but I find the politics fascinating, and also the media coverage. The media coverage tends to focus on white independents and working-class whites that the Obama team doesn't want to alienate with the gay marriage stuff. What they don't seem to focus on nearly as much is the black vote. Specifically, black ministers who are passionately against gay marriage and also have the keys to the vans on voting day.
That's interesting, yeah.
And those guys, it's not like Obama won't get 95% of the black vote. I think that's obviously it will. Democrats do that. The question is whether the share of the total vote will be much larger for, the slice of the pie for blacks will be much larger for blacks in 2012 the way it was in 2008. And I think they are terrified alienating those people, not in the nationwide, in California and all those places, those don't matter, but in North Carolina and Indiana and Virginia and Ohio, all of them, white working class, blacks, they're at the margins Obama needs to repeat his 2008 performance. You start cutting into 10, 20, 30% of those demographics that are just against gay marriage, and they're terrified of it.
Where do you think the state of the Tea Party is today? At a victory last night, Richard Murdoch winning in Indiana over Senator Lugar, had been there for decades. But Mitt Romney is the nominee for Republicans. I wouldn't say he's a Tea Party favorite at all. But where do you think the Tea Party movement stands today?
Well, for a dead movement, they're awfully limber.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, and I think that I think the Tea Parties will be a net plus for Romney in the election. I think that they will help organize and all of the rest. I think Americans for Prosperity and those kinds of groups are pretty mature about the importance of this election, and the simple fact is that disappointment with Romney is so outweighed by enthusiasm to vote out Obama. And the states where Romney has the biggest trouble are states that the GOP was going to win anyway. So in Alabama, they're not going to be as excited for a moderate Mormon. So instead of winning 68% of the vote, he's only going to win 54% of the vote or something, or 58%. Not in the Electoral College, you just have to win the state, even by one vote. And I don't think Romney's got that big a problem.
Yeah, and I've sort of been making the case that, they're still out there. They've just sort of adapted new tactics. They're not as visual as they once were. They're not like on the mall marching and showing up at the state houses like they used to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was joking about this on Twitter last night. It's funny, the fighting wedge of the Tea Parties win peaceful primaries. The fighting wedge of Occupy Wall Street try to blow up bridges. But it's the Tea Parties that are really scary.
Yeah, right. All right, so you're going to be at AEI today. Now, it says here that you're going to be there from 1 to 2:30 for a public speech. You're not actually going to speak for an hour and a half, are you? You got an hour and a half speech lined up?
Well, it's partly speech, partly performance art.
Really?
Oh, really?
Is there any nudity involved?
It'll all be tasteful and integral to the plot.
And then a book signing afterwards. The new book, The Tyranny of Clichs, How Liberals Cheat in the War of Ideas. Jonah Goldberg, always good to have you on the program. Good luck with